So if you want, you can go a little bit this way, and then we are centered. Yes, beautiful. We have Christiane coming in. We're gonna give a few minutes for everybody to gather. Yes. So beautiful to see you guys.
Christiane.
Hi. Well, beautiful seeing you guys. These smiling faces really warms up our hearts whenever we see you. So today's topic is I guess very, very interesting for us, and it comes right after our yearly Joy and Magic retreat that we did here in France.
Mm-hmm.
And
quite few of you know what it is.
Yes,
so
we had some of you over here over the years. Mm-hmm. So as usual, it was quite magical. Actually, it was very, very deeply magical, and we had some revelations that we would like to share with you guys. So today we talk about living light, yeah? And in all significances, all meanings of the word, it's living as light and also radiating light, radiating that light from within. And this is really what happens when we inhabit and express our talents in a joyful and uplifted way. And we kind of see this magic of interaction between who we are and between the world and between universal forces. So everything is aligned and everything flows in the beautiful flow and pattern, yeah? So we know that there are a lot of things that are now happening that are on our way to expressing this full alignment. Yeah, there are a lot of distractions, and we are here to assert and re-embrace joy, magic, and expansion and light in spite of everything that might be happening and trying to kind of distract us from this path.
Well, actually, what really inspired us to speak about this subject was we had our dear Tridakna from Damanur who shared her 40-year knowledge about death and dying. And the one thing that stayed about from that discourse about how to properly die is that when you die, it doesn't, and if let's say you die and you knock on the heaven's door if you get there, nobody will ask how many houses have you built, how many diplomas have you obtained, or how much things you have done. What will be asked for you, how well did you use the energy that was given to you? Did you multiply it? Did you come home with more energy than you spent? Or did you spend the one you had plus you incurred debt? So that is the only measure from subtle planes of how lightly have you lived. Have you increased the energy by exploring all of your talents that were given to you? So she depicted as a very, very dark picture of those who don't use that energy that has been given, and it actually incurs little difficulties in the person's life. Plus, it's really, disturbing this moment of passage towards the light realms. So I said, maybe we have a little bit overlooked the importance of talents, because we think, okay, they're there and I can express them now and then, here and there, and I love painting, but I'll do it once in 10 years or when I'm old. So we somehow don't give it a priority, and we do what's normal, reasonable, logical, or other. Yeah. conventional, convenient anything. But we can have a look a little bit deeper of what energetically it means when you're given a talent. How do you transform it into skill? And is it one for life? Is it many?
Does it change as you go? Is it like you have the set of talents and it stays fixed? So these are some of the topics we will explore. And also we will explore how long are you supposed to use the talent? When does it expire, or is there for life? So to begin with, we would like to actually kind of ask you guys, is there a talent that you know that you have and that you had throughout your life, but for this reason or that it keeps escaping you to act on that, to make something out of it, to create something? Okay, you can
or if you have no idea about what your talent is, because that's always very if we knew, then we would be already doing that. Or what's your personal feeling? Is there a goal in life, something that you're working towards?
That's a good one too.
Or does it matter more how you live your day, how well you show up for every day? So what's your feeling about it? Are you building towards something bigger, or is the focus within within your reach? Lisa?
Hey, so I see talent and gift as maybe slightly differently. One gift, many talents. And I think that, no, I don't think. My gift is inspiration. And where that has gone awry in my life is not realizing a gift of inspiration is that I can tend to inspire people to do not very positive things. So the gift of inspiration can be used to inspire fantastic things, but I don't always do that.
Okay.
So, yeah, like you say, having the gift eluding you. So the gift eludes me if I'm feeling uninspired myself, I guess. It can elude me. But, yeah. The talents, I'm an awesome cook. That's a good talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's one of those very underestimated talents, but actually that counts big.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, talents and gifts. How about some other of you? What do you feel like? Is it...
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, Miriam.
Hey, Miriam.
Well, I have the feeling that I've always been living my passion with working with people in whatever way. But funny enough, over the years, a few times with readings and also with astrology, people say, why didn't you start writing yet? You need to write a book. I don't get really, it doesn't really make me happy, that feeling of writing a book. I mean, I write diary, I write poems sometimes, or with the constellations I would write every week something from a quote, but other than that, no. But so yeah, I'm now in a kind of in between. I don't facilitate, well, hardly ever, and so I'm in this moment. I just don't know where I will go to, but writing still is not really on my highest list. But yeah, so I'm wondering what will come out for this, what you've been seeing. So in a way, it's like the opposite, that other people tell me that it's really that's my purpose, and I don't feel it.
This is very, very
There's
interesting.
A reason for that.
Exactly. And that's exactly where we want to go with this.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a start.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Miriam. Beautiful. And I'm just going to stress it once again. So others tell you that this is your gift, but you cannot see it, and it's beautiful, beautifully said.
Anna?
Hi. I will turn your sound on. But your sound is not connected. I
Can you
think
hear me?
Yeah, now we do.
Okay. Okay, so I was wondering if something really is calling you, if you feel really that you really wish to do something, but you don't know why. Is it just that you love something and you're attracted to it, or there is something that is calling you because you have some talent or some mission involved in that what which is calling you. So I feel that it's that way, you know. If I'm so much attracted to you know what dolphins, that there must be and always something happened with them, that maybe there is something about it that's calling me, but I don't know. Not just I love them, you know, but there's something more in it, but I don't know still know what it is, you know. Is there some mission with that? Is that some talent? Is there a connection with the dolphins and children, or that I could make? You know, is there a reason? There must be some reason why this is calling me so much. You know.
Yeah. So there is that ingredient as well. This longing and calling, and the mind usually wants to combine it into something practical, but it's not until you dive in that you can see what could be the practical outcome of that interest, how it could be expressed. We'll
Yeah.
get into that too.
In other words, we can't think it up. If we call it, we have to start doing it and then ask for the depth and the further information, and then it will start shaping itself up. But it's interesting. Dolphins, and you are in the middle of the continental region for most of your life, so there is something there to be looked at. But thank you, super. Thank you for sharing. Sylvia.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I feel I'm blessed with many talents, and I certainly live the path of one of them or a few of them. And there are a few that I've always felt that I would love to do, or I would love to give more space to that, but somehow it is like for example, creating beautiful spaces. It's something that is a gift, and people always comment the place I live, that, oh, you know, you made it so nice, da, da, da. And I'm very passionate about spaces, especially feeling the soul of a space, and just anyway decorating and everything. But somehow it never goes further than just creating a beautiful space for myself, or if a friend of mine asking what would I do, I give advice, but this is where it ends. And that's one. The other is singing, that I talked about already, that I've been feeling it from my childhood and have been always praised for the voice and this and that. But it hasn't taken off, even though my partner is an accomplished musician, and we have never really gone further to performing here and there and getting claps and whatever, but nothing really taken off. However, when it's about my reading and healing work, and incorporating voice in that flies. That flies. So yeah. And I'm just like Miriam, I'm also feeling that I've been in this state of, yes, I have a beautiful flow of work, like kind of didn't this whole virus stuff didn't really affect the flow. I'm actually reducing consciously the flow because I feel that I can't take more than XYZ amount of clients. Um, but there is a really nice flow. In the same time, I'm feeling that my soul and my whole being has been going through on a transition, and I feel that I need space for that. And therefore, I dedicate my time only for one client a day, and that's that. And the rest is just being and going deeper. Yeah. Thank you. I think it went long.
Yeah, well, you'll be surprised when you'll see how it comes.
It
how
comes
it comes
very well together, yes. Thank you. Anna?
Yes, it's a very interesting topic for me because, like, all over my life, I had such a trouble actually pinpointing my talents in a sense that I had the impression I was kind of always kind of good at everything I did, apart maybe from like painting or singing. I don't even have a voice. But like subject at school, I mean, everything I could do, but like nothing was really there that really like took me with it and was like, whoa, this is where I excel, right? So I was searching for it also like with some courses. So it's not like I've never tried to pinpoint it, but it was always like so elusive. So I guess right now I kind of know what I'm really passionate about, and it's like the consciousness and what I can do with it. Meaning that I think what I'm most passionate about is like, my God, can I astral travel? Can I like discover other worlds? So this kind of like soul adventures. It's something that is calling me, but it's not something I feel I could earn my money with, for example. So yeah, I've got a bit of trouble with the topic. That's why I'm so curious to listen to the rest.
Yeah, well, beautiful to hear this. And also we hear the first and one of the most popular resistances why we don't pursue the talents, because we have to somehow connect them to making money through them. So that's this first fear of survival. If I do what I'm really good at, am I going to survive, or I will die from hunger? Nobody's going to pay for this ever. So
And you see, there is a solution for that too. We're used to thinking that one way, that our talent needs to provide us with what we need, but there are options. We'll get into that. Thank you.
thank you, Anna.
Well, then shall we start exploring? Oh, Zane
Zane?
wanted some. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay, so Zane will express her new talent by saying something.
I can share a little piece of fun. I was thinking for the kind of a gift, skill. It's a building site slash decoration. And for me, it's so obvious that I don't find it as a big deal. So I had a funny thing that we have everywhere in every room. We have the bathtubs we made ourselves in our guest houses area. And then, for example, in one room, we had the wood which went not good. So I just repaired it with the cement and made it look back as a wood with the paint and everything. And then I shared this with Victor and Evia, and Victor said, "Wow!" And for me, it was a revelation that I was imagining that every housewife actually doing this. Yeah. So this is my story.
It's Thank you, Zana. It's actually a great illustration of sometimes what our true talent is. We think that it's something so ordinary that everybody knows how to do it.
Yeah, like every woman can casually fix the leaking toilet, or repair a wound
But this
Just
will like
because the environment
while
is
making
like that, I
pancakes
think that
and
everyone can.
so one of the ways to recognize what it is that it kind of happens like this. It is very effortless and it is so easy, and we think about this is not even a talent. Everybody knows how to do this. So definitely one way how to recognize it. Thank you, Zana.
yeah. So then, how do those talents work? Are they given? Like, where are they given? Why are they hidden? And why not everybody is walking absolutely in full bliss, doing what they do the best? Well, the point of a talent, the one that is given really at the core of our being, is that it's not obvious. It's something that you have described. I feel it, I feel it like a call. I feel it, it's somewhere there, but I can't give it a shape. It doesn't come as a very obvious skill. When we think of a talented person, we think of someone who really knows well how to do something, but that's a skill. A talent is a facility where what you do spontaneously and naturally is actually super exciting and enriching everyone else, and that is just you with your being. You can do that, so that's your unique talent or gift. Somehow the society has put a pressure on the gifts by defining that it has to be something outstanding and straight away, like you have to draw at the age of 5 masterpieces, or you have to play piano as a virtuoso. So when we categorize people in talented and non-talented, or having a gift or not, we usually expect that they somehow quickly do that one thing and stand out in that, where actually the real talent is to move through life with ease and grace. And every one of us has a specific way how to move through life with ease and grace. It's not that one thing that you do better than others. It's how you live with lightness. That's the real talent. And for some, expressing that lightness might be, building with joy. For some, it's singing with joy. For some, it's painting with joy. For some, it's filmmaking with joy. So whatever makes you light and brings that lightness into your being, that is as close as you get to your talent. And then when you express the talent and kind of train yourself into it, it becomes a skill. And the skill is what really differentiates you from other people with talents. Then you have a level of skill that is significant, and then makes a difference in a physical world. So how to understand where your talent is sitting? Most probably this is what everybody has already told you from around, and like Miriam with a book, that everybody has said you should write a book. I have been told the same. I still don't see why and how, and I'm not that inspired. I have nothing to say, and I have nothing to write about. So we find immediately these resistances. So guess what? When more than three people with completely neutral eyes actually say the same thing, well, that's the universe speaking to you. And when your automatic reaction would be, oh, but I have nothing to say, oh, but it doesn't feel exciting, or oh, but. So there's someone saying that phrase to keep you away from trying. Yeah. So most of our best gifts stay in the realm of theory or ideas, because we don't feel inspired to try, because we judge it from the beginning. I can't sing because my voice is not this and that, because we give it a form. When we give it a form on how it should look, we actually resist that form. When we're told to write a book, what our mind imagines is, oh my god, I have to put perfect sentences, it has to be like logical sequence, I don't know, I haven't studied it, there are a trillion of books already, every other person writes a book. So we have this reasoning that comes completely from the mind that actually convinces us, oh, but no, it doesn't feel inspiring. But if we would look deeper, what is it that we're asked to do through writing a book? It's actually transmitting the knowledge that we have accumulated. So for you, Miriam, for example, it would be, if they ask me to write a book, well, maybe it's not a book, maybe it's some series of short video clips, maybe it's I'm opening a little group where I share what I have seen in constellations since I don't know how long you do it for decades, yeah. So you're asked to transmit the knowledge. And if we don't attach to the form and start journeying towards that, we will understand how it wants to be shaped. And book is just one form of that.
So, yeah, that example for Miriam is literally, it is a stream of communication, and it's a teaching that is being asked from you to give. And teaching in the way that that person is going to find the needed, yeah. So it's not something that has to be in the form that you imagine. And the art here is to understand that that is our real deeper gift can be hidden by something we call either inner entropy or something that we call a blindfold. So there could be a blindfold that completely everybody else sees it and you cannot. So it depends how in your soul's blueprint these energies are flowing. It can be completely that you're blind to this. Looking at your soul's blueprint, Miriam, you're not one of those that are completely blinded, but I see that talent for you is kind of in between of two different ways of expressing. So your way of expressing it would be that it is this that you share as information kind of helps people to feel nurtured and taken care of. So it's almost, that book Chicken Soup for the Soul. These are like short stories that really warm your heart when you read them. It is somewhat of that expression, and it totally doesn't have to be in the form of a book, but it is warming people's heart through the experiences that you have been through. Mm-hmm. Something like this.
And when you say that you're writing anyways with a little quote, so the way how to understand what is that expression outside of that one definition of a book, you can see what comes naturally, easy, spontaneously. If you write your morning pages, or if you write reflections, or just poems or something, so you see that might not be a huge inspiration, but if you dig deeper, you will find a little thread, and that little thread will lead to the next expression. We're living in a society and a culture that actually is very loud. So we think that inspiration should come in bursts and blasts. We think that our talent should be like a thunder striking us and sudden revelation, oh, I want to sing, or I want to dance, I want to paint. And we also think that those expressions are mostly about singing, dancing, and painting. But I can give you a funny detail from my own life. When I was 16 or 17, there was a little talent show in Latvia, and I was so frustrated because I said, like Anna said, that she's good at everything, but nothing special, but can do everything. And I had this character of I could do everything, but I didn't have a talent that I would sing like a diva or dance somehow special. And I was frustrated, and I said, okay, so if everybody sings, dance, plays instrument, but it's so boring that because everybody does those three things, so what can I do completely different than anyone else? And I subscribed to that talent show with my special talent of being able to move the toes in different directions. it was not only accepted, but I finished the second with my special talent of moving fingers, and it was such a liberation, because actually, well, all the super dancing, like there was a girl who could make a triple axel in ice skating, and there were serious talents, and I was second with being able to move my toes in separate ways and different styles. So never underestimate that one unique thing that nobody else can do. So you see how many of you can move all fingers of your feet separately. Well, you see, I definitely do have a talent here. And
this gives completely different meaning to the term foot massage. This is a massage with feet,
and I developed a super sensitivity with feet. I can write with my feet, and I took some odd pleasure in just getting really skilled with doing things with my feet, switching on the light switches. I can write a couple of things with my feet, and I can do very sensitive massages with feet. So, it's odd, but maybe not because now I understand there's a special energetic connection for it to be that way. But in any case, at 16, getting the second place in my talent show with this odd talent actually liberated not only myself, but so many kids who were complex because they didn't have the voice of diva and looks or some Mozart talent. So it's about embracing these odd little features that you have, because they might be there for a reason, and they might come handy at some point in your life.
And literally, I'm now looking, because you're going to channel a little bit while we do this session, a little differently than on the other sessions. But we're channeling a little bit for Miriam started. So what's in the way of expressing that gift for you, Miriam, is this inner darker side that doesn't want your best expression to be there. And we see it, we call it a dark twin.
Yeah, for sake of convenience, we call it a dark twin, because it's another part of you who doesn't want you to evolve, who wants things to stay static. We spoke about entropy, that it's very difficult to start things. It's very difficult to actually follow the heart. There's always some resistance, inner resistance. So we have to push through for everything that we like to do. And this dark twin is this... from Alice in Wonderland, you have seen the movie, the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, the Queen of...
And the other one.
Light and Dark Queen, so...
Yeah, so the Dark Queen just wants everything to be nullified and no changes, So that's what we have as interference at all times for everything we do. And especially when it comes to sensitive things, that force is very good at telling us how we are not good at things that matter, and to overcome that force, it's not that easy. You have to have a complete dedication to yourself and to your soul's path. And the only area where that entropy, the dark twin, has no hold is when you follow the moment of pure inspiration, when you act upon your ideas when they come. This is a very, very important notion, acting upon the ideas when they come. If you have somewhat of a divine inspiration, I want to paint, the dark twin will say, oh, but you have not even a canvas, you are not a painter, you'll get it wrong. It will give you a series of explanations why not. But actually what would matter, that you take out whatever you have, crayons, piece of paper, and
do it then. At least one little part, one page.
That you don't put it away, because there might be this little nudge of painting, might be not about the painting itself. It might be about drawing codes or making some geometries, making a healing geometries for yourself. There is something behind, And if you listen to that urge of not wanting to do it because of some technical reasons or personal criticism, then you close the door to that talent that was very shyly knocking. And it won't knock again for quite some time if you let that one pass.
So this is one of the important points we want to make. If we have given a talent, it means that a certain energy comes with it that is almost asking from us to do something about it. And especially if you called at any time of your life for that talent to be shown to you, and this response comes that you receive the guidance, aha, this might be my talent, then it's very important that you act on it, because that energy that you get to do something with, if nothing has been done with it, then it's going to be channeled in some random ways out of you, which could be in, the forms that are really something you don't want. Little accidents, little health things.
Usually money problems.
Problems, things like that. So it's super important to do at least something with it, and to apply it, and then the further guidance will come.
Mm-hmm. So the attachment to the form of how it needs to look is only limitations of our mind. We're moving into a very futuristic era, so most probably you can't even imagine the definite shape of your talents or expressions. All we know is what we know, but we're moving fast. We're moving forward very, very fast. So just stepping into that door and starting walking that way will open up the next step as you go. For example, Anna, your dolphin story, yeah? It might not be about healing dolphins or taking care of them. That's the immediate form that you can imagine. It might be about, connecting to that intelligence and, singing it through you or painting it through you, or, it might take unexpected proportions. It might lead you completely somewhere else, but that's the door. It's almost like a little reminder that you have put yourself to look in that direction and start walking towards it in any way that you can see it. Mm-hmm. And to give you an example how one thing can lead to another, speaking about astral traveling, so we also had the passion for astral traveling, and we just acted upon it. We went to the courses in Damanhur for astral traveling.
We went to the course with the idea that we're just going to learn it. We set up a course
just for ourselves. We acted upon it. We got the best teacher they have that's doing that for 40 years or something. And what we got out of that was not that much about astral traveling. It was about how to read the signs of the universe, but next level. So which actually was an essential ingredient in what we are going to do now and what we are doing. So this nudge for astral traveling actually led us to a crucial knowledge that we couldn't have even asked for, because we wouldn't know it exists and it's even learnable. So that's why exploring those little passions, I want to try a new recipe. Do it.
This
you might find something else,
connects to Miriam's gift to writing, that this form of channeled writing and then reading into those symbols that come out might be this that people are telling you that it's writing for you. Mm-hmm. So it's just a note to go deeper. Miriam, we will explain you what it is a little. So this might be your way to channel things, this that Evia just mentioned. Mm-hmm. Channeling through kind of writing without an intent, and then kind of reading what has been written. We will share that technique with you.
Yeah, so there are things you cannot imagine exist, but they are there for you, and you have to somehow get there, because your mind doesn't hold the information about the shape yet. Mm-hmm. So when you sing, it's one thing. It's a step, it's a skill, but then that skill has a higher application. So when we are given a talent and we have understood it, and we have already transformed it into skill, and we're good at that skill, that's where it becomes very important. When you master a skill, so for all of you who sing really well, uh, dance or paint or channel or anything very well, this is where you have to be careful, because if you don't catch in time the new inspiration, your energies will go down back to the bottom of the hill. Yeah, with your skill you have brought yourself up on the top of the hill, so that's where you're looking for the next new thing, and the next new thing will be nothing obvious and nothing that will grab you passionately. It's not how it comes. It will be a subtle urge to explore, maybe within that same area, maybe within the area of music and sound, but to explore an aspect of it, to rise higher in its expressions. I'll give a very interesting example for Sylvia, how it comes together. It's very, you can't even think of that. How within that same thing that we're good at, we can become even better by renewing ourselves. And the key here that ties back to death and dying, and dying lightly, is how well you can always stay fresh and new within that same area that you're passionate about, or by completely changing your personality, your everything, your home, your field of interest or expression. So for everyone is a little different. Not everybody has to change everything, and not everybody has to stay within one expression. It's very, very individual. But as we saw this beautiful quote that humans are like ships hitting the shores of their limitations,
I can actually
renewing themselves.
So human beings are like, in fact, a rolling wave of consciousness with no fixed identity. We are programmed to continually hit the shores of our limitations and dissolve into something else. So that was super kind of reminding about not holding this fixed identity, but to actually embrace the talent and expression that you have it and work with it until you get to the point that you have expressed it honestly and well, and to the highest point of satisfaction and like inner, I would say inner honesty, that this is the best try that I want to give with this, and then move on. And moving on to another thing that you could be, and another thing that you could activate within yourselves. So
there's that lightness of being, where you are not attached to an identity that is performing a thing, but you're streaming that consciousness and actually playing and experimenting. And how do you know that it will work, or it will bring money, or it's safe to do so? Because that is where actually the universal forces gather to back you up. If you manage to do that one thing, to pull yourself out of that discourse, I don't know, I don't feel inspired, how I will get money from that. If you pull yourself out of that discourse of the dark twin within yourself, and start working your way very simply and honestly towards your interest. It might not be a huge mind-blowing passion, it's an interest. And then see how you fit in there. And if you don't fit in that first interest, well, see, maybe that interest leads you to the next one. So this is how slowly you go to where suddenly you click. And when you click, you know that you are in the right place. All of you have had that feeling at some point of your life that you clicked with your own life and said, yeah, I'm really, now I'm really enjoying my expression, myself.
Yeah.
So this is what we're looking for the lightness, and the goal or the mission as such does not matter, as long as it's, within your chords. and you're playing your own music, that's where you'll have energy and the universal support for all that you need. And one note about the money thing, because our passions usually are very different from conventional kind of ways of earning money, and many people try to also earn money with their spiritual gifts, yet they are not at the very end of exploring their spiritual gifts. If someone masters a technique that seems to be working, and then suddenly there are less and less people interested in that, that means there's some step has been missed for renewal and exploring deeper. If it sort of works and sort of brings people, but not fully, that means you're not at the end of your expression. If it would work at that stage, you would deprive yourself from actually going to the real expression. So the money is sort of keeping you exploring until it really hits the full resonance, and you become so unique that people will queue outside of your door for what your talent is.
It's like a sensor that is telling you where and how you need to fine-tune this that you are doing. It's a convenient one because it shows how helpful this is actually for people who would be on the receiving end of it.
So I would say if you haven't fully embodied your talent to the point that it clicks and becomes completely irresistible for the world, you can also have an activity on the side, anything else that you like to do, but it's not your major passion. And that will fuel the practical side. So you can find those two activities side by side. One that uses your skills from the past or in any other ways and is kind of sustaining you for life, while exploring the talent and preparing you for the jump from one to the other. So when your new passion becomes self-sustainable, then you can drop whatever was there before and fully express yourself in that, and so on it goes.
So interesting aspect of this is that some of those gifts that you have are easily observable by feeling that inner joy and inner drive to do it. And then there are some of them that are there, possible, and usually they are really best parts of us, and they are somehow blocked from our awareness. They're somehow kind of blindfolded and we cannot see them. And we have a great example between looking at Evia and I. Our expression now is through kind of sharing our research like this. But one of the biggest talents that Evia had, and she wasn't aware of, is actually speaking in front of people. So
I still don't know about it.
So it's really beautifully explaining things, like naturally giving examples, like connecting and flowing. However, she would be the last one to know. And what we had to do is really explore and slowly kind of open and see what has held that gift captive and from expressing. And usually it is either a blind spot that I can see when I look at your soul blueprints, where it's going to be, or it is something that happened in childhood to kind of kick you out of self-esteem to do it. Somebody had, but you have an ugly voice, you're singing like a frog, or some what teachers would tell us. So this is why it's important, and we wanted to go into digging a little deeper and see if you have some of those gifts, and to kind of put them down, connect you with them and give you a material for thinking how you can activate those.
So those ones that are hidden behind the blind spot usually feel you would do it for a small group of people when it doesn't involve responsibility, and you would absolutely not do it publicly or or that somebody would judge it. Yeah, it's somehow very sensitive because you are also not aware how to control it. So it's a talent that is authentic, spontaneous, and very fragile. And those are hidden behind the wounds where many of us in past lives have had heads falling off. Speaking our truth, so there's a lot of things around communication, singing, speaking, expressing. So there's not one person that is just hey, I can say everything beautifully how I feel. We have to go through the healing and the whole bunch of processes to be able to open it up for ourselves and clear it from any past interferences. So, any questions so far?
Or thoughts? Or yes, Anna.
So let's answer the Lisa first. So for the gift,
when we say that you're gifted, this is what we mean. Gifted talent and gift in the way that we are speaking now, we are using it almost interchangeably.
Yeah.
And magically gifted, you see, okay, so what is the gift and what is the talent? The way that we see it, it is like an opening, literally an opening to the divine source channeling that is available to you. You can imagine that it is like, high-speed data cable to the universal consciousness going from your solar plexus, heart, and pineal gland, for example. And those are the possibilities of high frequency, high bandwidth communication between you and divine source. But they don't come completely, the connections are there, but you have to build like the dexterity of your body to be able to channel them. So for a good example is somebody who is talented piano player. They come with that connection that higher consciousness can express through the piano playing.
It's right how Lisa says. So the talent would be for the piano player to hear the music in the head very
exactly.
Very precisely.
But we would need to express the possibility.
The gift would be to give to the world, to compose something with it, and the skill is the actually practicing to be able to express it.
So building up the dexterity of the fingers and the body to actually be able to embody this and express it. So yeah, exactly like that.
So yeah, you have a talent with words, so you can share your inspiration, and the skill is how you put it together, how you train to put it together.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And
So Anne?
No, Anna wanted to go first, and then.
Well, the thought while you were talking was, I read somewhere that we should think of what we really loved to do when we were kids, and found that those are our real natural talents. Do you agree with that? Or maybe now when we're 40 years later we have some others, or do you think it's those talents, what we really enjoyed doing while we were kids?
Yeah, what we felt when we were kids is definitely a big, there's a big reason, a big hint why we wanted that back then. And especially if we have been said that, told, this is not a decent profession, like decent women don't sing, or, those kinds of things, but definitely a big hint.
Or artists are all poor and psychotic,
But now I think about really doing before school, Victor, like I was always drawing. I really loved to draw, and things like that. Even before all those, words of teachers and parents, and when we were really, really little, what we loved to do before school, before kindergarten.
Yeah,
There must
exactly.
be something there.
Yeah, so you don't know how, for what reason it will be, so we should always remember not to attach to the form. Yeah, I was very surprised when I understood what my 20 years of art school served for. It served for one purpose, not to make any paintings on the walls. It's to be able to draw a light code with one line, without trembling, without having fear. I had trained my skill not to become an artist, but to be able to precisely hold the pencil for when it's needed, and to draw without kind of hesitating and preparations and such. And then, the beautiful paintings, it's a side effect, that's I can do on the side or cannot do, it doesn't matter. But there was a precise reason why that training was needed. And the story with my moving toes, the childhood thing that I did while I didn't want to sleep the siestas. Well, that comes because now I understand, okay, there's specific energy channeled through the feet and so on. So you keep that thread on and go very freely into it,
And
don't lock it
deeper.
into a form.
As a child, you couldn't know what it could serve. So, you did it because it was pleasure, pure pleasure and joy of existence to do it. But now, with all these years of depth, there could be a deeper purpose of this. What could that drawing actually express? It might be able to express a specific codes that, for example, unlock alignments for other people that are very healing, for example, or just observe what the universe show you to do with that now, because your sensitivity now is completely different.
We're giving these examples, but we can't think it up front. We can only realize it when we're already in it. So that's why really not locking oneself in a form is essential, so that you can feel what is deeper, what is behind.
So we have Anne and then Victoria.
Yeah, I want to ask about dark twin and universe actually conspiring to fine tune gifts, because where I'm at the moment it's kind of the same. So if there's anything you share
About our dark twin, yeah, very gladly. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
We worked with it quite a bit.
So the dark twin is that inner saboteur. So it takes voices of parents and society, teachers, whatever. It always takes somebody's voice to speak in your head. Yet the only way to get out of it is really to act upon your promises. So there's another very important notion in how life flows. It's acting upon your promises. Because, for example, when you promise yourself, okay, I'll do that yoga in the mornings, yeah, it's less dangerous to not promise and not do than to promise and not do. Because when you promise yourself, you engage yourself in having to do it, because you are being given already the energy for it. So if you don't spend that energy in doing what you said that you will, it's turning against you and creating havoc within. So every promise to yourself that has not been fulfilled and held actually creates a mini explosion in yourself, and bursts out as something else going wrong. In our culture we have man and word, or walking the talk, yeah. So these are very strong notions, and they don't come from nowhere. They actually illustrate this energetics with man and word, that especially for men it's crucial to act upon their promises, because every time you utter a statement, I will take my family to the beach on this Sunday, yeah, it's sort of binding you to do it, because you have already reserved that spot in the quantum field where you will do it. So events start conspiring for it. And if for some reason, that those little nudges, oh, we're too late, it's maybe not a good idea, if you start thinking yourself out of your way, well, that energy that has been allocated to the thing that you felt inspired to do, and then suddenly no longer, it's going to take a different form, and unexpected form. You could have realized it in a form that you intended, okay, taking the family to the beach, and if you don't, it will come back and ask to be dealt with through some little issues or the problem. So that the region of dark twin within ourselves is exactly persuading you that, oh, but why should you? Oh, but after all, it's too late, or it's too tiring. But when you actually break through it and you do it anyways, how free you are, how much energy. When you feel sluggish to go and do that yoga and you go and do it. You said, oh, thanks God, where I was the other mornings. Like, when you drag yourself out of bed and go dancing in the fields at 6 a.m., you see, oh, why don't I do it every morning? So you see, every time that you get out of this interference of dark twin, you get an extra boost of energy. But, you have to renew that act every single time for everything that you do until you get in a flow where you don't allow that anymore. You don't question. You feel like going to the beach, you grab your scooter, you grab your car, you just go, you just do. There's energy. It's spontaneous. You don't know how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But you feel like alive and shimmering because you acted upon your inner decision.
So the point is actually recognizing the vibration. How does it feel when the dark twin is acting? And at that point, when you recognize it, you kind of just don't trust it anymore. You understand, this is not my real drive. This is the drive of entropy. We can call the dark twin also the inner entropy. This is the force that wants us not to do things because it wants nothing to move. And you recognize that frequency and you just say, I'll do it anyway. And usually what it takes is this one action, physical action of breaking through. It could be like the physical thing where we kind of do a little bit of pranic breath and kind of boost up our inner energy. It could be really knowing how to get to the state of joy. It could be a simple thing as feeling gratitude for this moment and understanding, my God, I woke this morning and I'm alive this morning again. What a miracle, with all these planets around and all like the sun coming up on time and the plants sprouting and just seeing that beauty and grace of nature. That can be the thing to kind of push us through.
Yeah. And the other thing to kind of get around your dark, of course there are methods, and that's a little bit more alchemical, how to tame it.
But, we have a method
if you take the Alice in Wonderland, so you remember the Dark Queen, the Light Queen. The Dark Queen wants to destroy everything. She wants nothing to exist outside of her wounded self. And the Light Queen is walking like this, and she can't do much. She's there, full of magic, full of formulas, full of everything, but she can't do much. And it took Alice to come and slay the dragon and, and liberate and cast that dark twin out of ourselves. So the dark twin is not really our own energy. It's not the same thing as dark and light side of ourselves. It's a real interference force. It has been there for a reason, and it's a complicated reason why it's there. And we can't include it in our usual discourse of we accept everything, we include everything as one. Yes, we can include everything as one except this.
Because this, you can literally look at it as disease. It's outside virus.
So it's to be taken very seriously, and especially when it starts talking in your head and persuading you why not. Well, you say, okay, if you give it too much of a credit, it will get its way. But if you catch that moment of you have the impulse, that's why maybe don't plan things the day before for the next morning, but in the morning kind of quickly check in, or shall I go for a run, and immediately get out of bed and do it. Because that dark twin acts within 4 seconds. It takes 4 seconds for it to persuade you why not. That bed is too soft, and and you can do it any other morning. So it's the eternal battle against our interference. Yeah.
So the question is, how do you know
Yes.
if you're just being lazy or not? Well, usually we're never really lazy.
We're
What
not
does it
lazy,
even mean?
yeah. We're excited
Yeah.
to live, you know,
Yeah.
like children. They're not lazy. The children, they want to move, explore, do, see everything, taste everything. That laziness is that entropy. The taste of entropy is the inner laziness of, oh, like maybe not now, maybe tomorrow, maybe it's too much, maybe. So it takes these courses of dissuading from, you know, from cool things that could happen. So the more you're actually alive and show up to life as it is, and don't judge, am I doing the super right thing, is it my super right soul's path or not, but you know, it's better than questioning and not doing, is, you know,
acting and then saying, oh well, maybe
and see, oh oops, well,
act
I
and then
shouldn't
see.
have done that.
But I want to point out to something else about lazy. You see, there is this thing that goes on in the culture that is judgmental of moments of inaction that are legitimate, because sometimes we actually want to be in the state of creative undoing, because in creative undoing we are opening up to tune into the flow and messages of nature around us. Yeah, so creative undoing is one thing, but then the judgmental culture would say, what are you doing, you're lazy. So it's important to learn to recognize the dark twin, because it is the laziness out of sluggishness. And if you feel sluggishness, it's very much like having parasites. You know, like parasites, you ate too much. Usually this is the feeling. We had 3 pizzas and now I kind of really don't feel to go and climb the mountain.
So keeping the practices of energies high and really disciplining the mind into recognizing this, yeah, recognizing the voice that will always tell you why not. This is the way to unlock your next kind of inspiration and talent, because that inspiration cannot break through, you know, these. It needs a certain electric state of living so that it can come spontaneously. So you have to get yourself to that flow first, and then the inspiration will come. Oh, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this, and they're all good after all, as long as they bring you to this kind of aliveness and saying, okay, I can, you know, I'm 40 years old and I can explore astral travel. Well, isn't it cool, you know? So really getting those things out and finding a new passion just for the sake of renewing yourself from inside, yeah, not taking it too seriously whether that is the actual purpose or not, although we'll get to your purposes anyways.
So Victoria wanted to add something and then we got into this.
Hey, just a very quick one. So I was wondering, how do you recognize the sounds of the universe versus the dark wind? It's with just a very quick example. A lot of people keep telling me that what a shame it is that I left my original professions, medicine and psychotherapy, because I was just so good at it, soothing people and calming people, understanding, inspiring, whatever. And then I started filmmaking, which I truly enjoy. But it just keeps coming back that I should have stuck with psychology or just healing per se. Probably not through films, which is my intention, but is it a dark wind phenomena or the universe calling me and I'm just blind and just wanted to hear that?
Yeah, Vicky, that's very easy. The universe is telling you, okay, so now you didn't do like 20 years of training for nothing. So how can you bring that in what you're doing now? Yeah? We don't have any wasted years. Whatever you have been doing for a long time, as I mentioned in my example of, you know, why did I need to sit and draw forever things that were boring to death? You know, just so I can draw that one line when needed. So your 20 years of psychology will have to come back, but in a very kind of selective method. You don't have to do what you did before. You have to bring it in a new, you recondition it, and blend it what you do, or create another third version
This is
of it.
amazing example of what we are talking about. Now we are talking about really sophisticated approach to life's purpose, which means using all of this wisdom that you have collected along the way, and then expressing it is the original expression that nobody else could use those elements in that combination that you can. So now you know how to make movies. You have made a couple of films, they won awards, and you have trained yourself how to do it successfully. Now you plug the real message in them. And now you plug your real other side, and you start healing with your movies. Those people who otherwise you would heal on one sessions, you have now access to hundreds of thousands of people who can receive that healing through your movies. So that's your unique expression. And now this is really beautiful example. And nobody can do it but you. And that's what's important here. That's how you know that it's yours. You love both sides. And that love and that uniqueness of expression makes it uniquely yours in the world.
And in your case, the dark twin, because you brought up the question before, the dark twin would be the one suggesting you to do the boring movie. Yeah?
There you go. They will suggest easy paths. They will suggest obvious paths. Oh, but the path to successfully win the festivals would be this. But the real purpose is waiting. It's waiting for you to make something that nobody else can. This is why you came here.
And actually claiming it and owning it. Okay, so I know psychology and filmmaking. Anyone interested in a transformational movie here? And that's the message. If you show up to the world with this message, I know how to do both. Well, this will attract the right people, and the boring movies can be done by those who only know how to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So really, like, reminisce and look back on everything that you've learned through life, and then see how you can, you were never who you are now. These times when you were learning them, you maybe had other ideas what you were going to do with that, but you are now that you are now, with all that wisdom and knowledge, and see how you can express, what is the joy of expression that takes that wisdom that you have now in front of the world. And we had recently a question when we spoke with Giacomo the other day. When we reach this beautiful state of equilibrium and inner joy and inner awe and almost like living samadhi state, are we allowed to stay in this, or are we supposed to kind of look at creating something more? And that is a big question. That is an interesting question to look at. And
it comes for a reason, because Giacomo, you have a very specific talent, and this question, it doesn't really come for anyone. It's precisely for you and your case, because it has a huge consequences, existential consequences.
Yeah.
So your paths are individual, but the universal law behind them is that you have to be as alive as you can be and explore as many things as you can while being in the body, while having senses, while having ideas, and without being afraid that something is wrong or something will fail. Because then, at the end of the game, your score will be exactly, did you come home with more energy that you left home with? Yeah, did you? It's in a way, was the investment of spending this life fruitful? So did you create more joy for yourself and others? Did you did you do everything you could think of? Yeah, so that you can die lightly and with no regrets. We know that Uwe's grandma had had the regret that she wanted to dance, and she regretted that she never did. And it's not something we spoke about, those unrealized potentials. Yeah, it's not something inaccessible, to dance, but for some reason, we're putting it for later. So voila, that's what counts. How alive are you? And that energy will bring you more clarity, more kind of opportunities and connections. So it will be easier, but you have to build up to that, yeah? Aliveness, where things are just popping.
Yeah.
By renewing yourself constantly.
And if we feel like we have fulfilled our destiny, and that is part of the answer that Giacomo asked, how about that raising our own DNA to the level where we change our destiny? So this is a huge possibility. And one of your hidden gifts, Giacomo, is that you have a potential to do this. There is this huge, enormous inner power, almost like a power of a samurai. Really, this is how this was expressed earlier in history when samurais existed. This would be the perfect expression of it. Expression of like a hero in the physical world. Hero that moves and that actually perfects the movement. So that hero that used to be a samurai now has a possibility to upgrade his own DNA from within and to raise and completely change the destiny.
So that is the path of evolution. When we become aware enough that we are in charge of our body, of our cells, to the extent, of course, yeah, but that with our consciousness we can influence our own destiny. We can make our wishes, we can make them happen, we can craft our destiny, because from that point where you realize that you can, it actually becomes possible.
But imagine for a moment that possibility that we have to actually upgrade our destiny. It used to be, this is my destiny, and I'm operating within that, and these are my gifts. But we have this code, and some of us, some of us have this possibility to upgrade it from within. So if Giacomo decides to do it, we being in this same space and sharing, turn on the light, please. And sharing, we will get part of this benefit because this will be upgraded for us as well.
Yeah, it's in a way, Giacomo, your talent is to open the way to people to say, well, make a wish and make it happen. You can do it in a very simplified way.
Well, by doing it.
And by the way, see, it worked for me. Like really showing how you. What did you do to get to the point of realizing that, you have brought yourself to the space of peace, which is a stage, and how you craft your life from there. So, and that's not a little gift, yeah?
The amount of power that's in there, the amount of power that actually you have to constantly ground because it's so huge, well, it just gets now directed into this.
And as a physical expression, it can be anything, like you craft a physical technique through the body to take people into being charge of their own
or just doing it yourself,
cells and like that.
Doing it yourself, it could also be enough because we get it through you.
So then it opens expressions or just for yourself and voila. So that's a very particular gift that's more of a broadcasting frequency. And
another unusual gift
gift is for Sylvia. So I had a lot of fun imagining, how your talent is actually to connect to that morphogenetic field and to read past, future, and we all know that Sylvia is a beautiful, intuitive tarot reader, and she's having this super fun sessions, and even though she's taking less and less clients, I would recommend having session with Sylvia. You won't regret. It's fantastic. But what this and you said yourself that area of your life draws the most people, the most energy, yeah. But you can do only as much as you can do. So that means that now is the stage where you have to explore the next floors of the same activity, given that your talent is to connect to that universal field, is to travel within time and feel the space. I was very surprised when I saw that actually with this capacity of connecting to the field, you can connect to the field of the space, any space that you are within, and this is how you channel what the house wants to be. You interpret it maybe as decorating with beautiful objects, but what if you could make the house speak, or what if you could make the land speak and say what kind of house it wants to have on it, yeah? Because the ultimate expression of this gift would be that you become, your body can operate as a quantum biocomputer, yeah. This is what you are. You are a quantum biocomputer translating information from the field into the words or actions.
Living bioresonance device.
Yeah, living bioresonance device. So you see how in this expression your singing would actually transmit that what you feel from the space. You just need to click it. You need to plug those plugs in the right place, yeah. Given that you have capacity to read the field, you have capacity to sing, you have capacity to speak, and to translate it, in something that you can transmit. Yeah? That's why not one single gift took off, because they have to be combined.
Then we have yet another very, very interesting and not very obvious. Yeah, so go ahead. Go ahead, Sylvia. It resonates with you, it seems. Christiane has another very interesting gift that is not very obvious, and it is kind of bringing down a cosmic order, or so to speak, like a gift of equilibrium. What does it mean? It is bringing down the new social model that is kind of beyond hierarchy. You see that we have existed for centuries in the form of hierarchy, and this is something that you are uniquely gifted to be able to do. So you here hold the code of creating the harmony on individual and collective level, but beyond hierarchy. This is something we call heterarchy. So this is what's coming after this wave of these temporary distractions of all structures trying to kind of regain. Of course, they will fail. And next that comes is the heterarchy, where we actually co-manage the human community. And you play the key role there.
Well, by very simply, it sounds very big and important, but actually, it's, if you learn how to meditate and bring yourself in balance, well, there will be people who will need that. Yeah. When you manage to get yourself to a space of peace and balance and honest communication.
Yes.
So that is your specialty, and your combination of whatever you know how to do already will show you how.
So it's about maintaining that social equilibrium that is based on needs of both individuals and a group as a whole being coexistent and feeding into each other. So these are some words and guidelines, but you are probably feeling what it really will be. It's a little difficult. What we will do for each one of you.
So these are really the top levels of what you can achieve. Wherever you are on that, just keeping in mind that that balance, harmony in every expression of your life is somewhat of a key through whatever expression you have.
All of you who have sent us your data, we will do this not obvious gift and record it. We cannot go now to every one of you, but some of you we have looked, we peeked in, because also it's not obvious and not really. We have to dig in.
Even we have to dig in.
We have to dig in and see what it is. And Christiane, if you don't immediately understand what it is, it's actually transcending corruption. This is what it is, transcending corruption and getting into the heterarchy. If you don't immediately understand what it is, we will see what is, we can see what's what can be unblinding the view to this. But this is what that expression would be.
And for a little peek also for Anna, your most hidden Anna Stipsic. So
Anna from Belgrade, yes.
So it's something to do with timelessness, something to do with finding a way out of time and effect of time on our bodies and consciousness. Like creations are timeless. For example, there are creations, you cook a meal, it's very bound to time, it lasts 30 minutes. But when you make a timeless creation, it transcends dimensions. So if you manage, but there's a big but, if you manage to let go of your personality that comes with its set of perceptions and attachment to time, if from linear time you manage to put yourself in a circle where you are the time and you have all the time of the world, because I have heard you say more than once that you have no time for yourself, yeah? Well, there's a reason you're telling yourself something with I have no time. Actually, from no time, you have to come to realize that you have all the time in the world. And that events are not on one string, but they are how you create them to be.
Part of it is really letting go of all definitions of who you are and really being that quote that we read, getting in the state of being the rolling wave of consciousness with no fixed identity that constantly goes higher and becomes something else with the flow of the universe. And this is really what we call alchemy. It is living totally, embracing everything and holding nothing back. And being truly alive.
Very interesting, thanks. And makes me think of those moments also when we were kids. I don't know exactly what it is now, but what you're talking about, but it seems familiar and true anyhow. But it makes me think of those moments when we were kids, and before falling to sleep, in the bed, before falling to sleep. For long times, I had such unusual visions, of some green lines and patterns, and it was like a light show, kaleidoscopic light show of something. And now, when you were talking about that, maybe that is that path to follow, to get from some other place and time, and I don't know what. because I also read, when I was reading about Nikola Tesla's autobiography, I also read that he had those visions. That his descriptions of those visions that he had were, it was so similar to what I had when I was kid. Maybe that is some path to follow to try to grasp, to reach.
Yeah, well,
You see,
those are those breadcrumbs that you have put yourself to find.
yeah,
What some bread?
breadcrumbs. This is like breadcrumbs that you go and don't forget the road. But the
Not
key.
sure what's the breadcrumbs, but okay, I'll see later.
These
No,
are
no.
little clues that you have put along the way that to remind you of the path. That's what we mean.
Uh-huh.
And one more, I'll give you one more clue. It is about transcending the past.
That goes also for everyone, because if you really want to be someone new, you have to die to who you were just before, together with your old mindset.
Yeah.
Yes, Giacomo. Bye.
Thanks.
Yes, see you, Giacomo.
Yeah. So these are the examples, and for example, for Anna, Switzerland, you definitely have to develop the skill and talent of manifestation, because you have the perfect energetic setting, yeah, for actually bringing that magic alive, yeah, and to kind of infusing it into what you do and where you are. So it doesn't have I feel it doesn't have a expression yet. It's not a job, being a professional manifester, but in a way, you're a walking magic wand, and you can say stink here, stink there, yeah. So you have a huge potential there, and if you can literally become what you want to be, because you have this set of universal ingredients that you can be anything, and you can be good at literally whatever you want to be. So that is your very, very special skill, that you are a little bit of MacGyver that can quickly change personalities and expressions, and you can use it to have maximum fun that you can imagine.
Thank you so much. I loved it so much. It resonates. I mean, I'm getting like goosebumps, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not something on the side. It's actually really a foundation of your future.
Thank you.
And we have one more. It's actually the first one that arrived, and it's for Gergana, who actually is just joining us for the first time. And your request came first, so we did it first. But it is another quite unusual gift, and it deals with actually transcending what has been, and let's say conditioning that comes through the regular schooling system and education system, and it is kind of getting oneself and people around you out of the mold of sameness and raising up to become a free thinker, who actually attracts as many free thinkers in the world just by being that already, yeah. So it goes all the way up to questioning the whole necessity of having a school system at all. Does organized school system even help us, or it is kind of hindrance? And what are the alternatives? And it is completely transcending any sort of need for following outside authorities. It's breathing one's own air of your own true unbounded nature. So this is the key words for this guidance are making a diamond of oneself. So really kind of sharpening, making oneself in the beautiful shining light that people are following and admiring and being inspired to be as free as possible, which means breaking free yourself first from anything that is not your original expression and that is there because it's supposed to be, because somebody said so.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Victor. This actually massively resonates with me because in the past, few years, I have been on a quest to become free, basically, and free myself, and also all to do with authority. It's all to do with authority. I was also thinking, why can't I just be like the others and accept it all? And something within just doesn't allow me to do it. And also, well, here I want to say thanks, guys, because this is the first time I've got the opportunity to be here with you, and I feel great about it, and I'm so grateful for all the wisdom, because in the past few days I've watched almost all the other tea parties that you had in a single go, and I'm so filled with all this wisdom and all these ideas that I didn't even know where to start asking. But I just wanted to share one thing. Actually, a few days ago, I read about exactly this. How do I break free from who I am? Because I almost feel to achieve what I feel I can achieve and to go into the direction of my potential, I have to stop being who I am now and who I have been in the past. And I read somewhere something that made me actually laugh. It says, if you want to do this, you almost have to imagine that you are under police investigation and the police is after you. And so you have to deceive them in a way that they don't recognize that this is you. So imagine somebody's outside, or imagine you go to a bar and somebody's on the next table watching you. How would you be? How would you behave? How would you talk? And how would you hold yourself so that nobody can tell that this is actually you? And there you go. That's kind of the theme. So thank you very much. This really resonates, and it's very helpful at this stage.
Yeah, because it's very easy to fall prey to our dark twin, who would say, but why do you need to be different? Just calm down and, sit in line, conform. So that's where the interference would have a place to speak, yeah? So knowing that's actually imprinted in you, you cannot be like anyone else. Well, it's somewhat liberating, I guess. So yeah, don't give up. And those who feel this urge of being different, speaking up, there's a reason why you feel that way. And it's important to honor that as well. So we won't have time to fit other guys in this.
In the live session, but whoever asked, we will make a little recording for you. Because it also goes beyond this. It's not really easy to get to this place. So it's good to kind of have a little guidance how to activate that place, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And understanding that if you have one goal is to really spend every day as having as much fun as possible, exploring as many aspects of yourself. What else can I do with myself, How else I can recondition or reinvent myself, never stopping in what you know how to do. Because the energetic underlying pattern is when you have achieved a state of competence, this is where you look for the next one, of next combination of the same one. You don't have to radically change, but to reinvent yourself as often as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's what keeps the universe walking hand in hand with you. And working on the dark twin, that will be the topic, I think, in itself, because it's a serious conditioning that every single human on planet has. So we gave a little overview, but there's more than that. Just be mindful that it's there. And yeah, I think that's it for today.
If there are some questions and anything that comes to mind, speak up, let us know.
Or drop
It's
us a line.
so interesting, really, so interesting to think about ourselves that way, and it's so inspiring, really. Thanks so much. Really interesting.
I'm just feeling so much love and gratitude and like almost overwhelmed with this infinite potential and unconditional love that has been flown through today. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to see that by your computer.
Let's activate it.
Yeah, we're having a tremendous fun when we're looking, how maybe far you are from understanding the treasure that you are for yourself. It's almost, we're giggling of excitement when we see that you have no idea of the treasure that you are for yourself. So it's super fun.
And we are so happy to, in any way, support you activating these things, because it's like, really, we do it for us, but we do it for the humanity, and we do it like to have fun and be just joyful,
Maybe I can also share something. Just a very short thing, actually, like how much I'm always looking forward to our calls, because it feels that, I get distracted on the outside, and every Saturday it's like, zoom, of what's important, and then sharing the energy with all of you, which is so beautiful and so inspiring, and it gives me so much, like boost and hope and joy. So thank you so much.
Super welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Well, wonderful. So we thought maybe you're tired of every Saturday morning, and we thought to give you a break, but then maybe we keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going. It's really good. Thank you guys so much. It's really, really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Uwe was just visiting us last week. It was so beautiful to have you over.
Yeah, from the screen, Uwe came to our side.
Yeah, Uwe is actually real. We know he's not in 2D. He is in 3D.
And we keep going. Thank you.
Yes.
And actually, I was happy that last week it didn't work because I was doing constellations, and I said to Sylvia, "We need to stop at 4:30 because I want to be at the session at 5." So now we had some more time last week.
So you see,
But
so your
that
session
session was
important than the
amazing.
constellations. No bets.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Well, we keep going then. So next week, same time.
We'll see what next comes up as a topic.
Please do. I'm also looking forward to Saturdays. Spending the time with you and sharing such a beautiful ideas that normally you don't find people to share those kind of ideas every Saturday morning, so please keep going.
Okay. Sounds
well,
good.
thank you.
Okay. So, love, light, and big hug to all of you.
So, living light, from now on, however you know how to do it. Ciao, Isabel.
Beautiful to see you. She was also with us here last week.
In 3D.
Yeah.
Isabel
is also 3D. Beautiful.
Well, ciao, guys.
Okay, see you next time.
Next week, and look forward to get your little recordings.
Thank you, guys.